Before we jump into today's episode, I just want to do a bit of housekeeping. I wanted to start off by clarifying a few things about a schedule I may have gotten a bit incorrect last week. So far, the episode structure, which is kind of changing for our seasons as we get a little more used to things, a little bit more ready and excited as we dive into the way that we want to do things from now on. We'll be having roughly about 3 seasons each year, and at the moment, each season is going to be about 7 episodes. We're going to continue posting every other week, so that way we have enough time and preparation for ourselves so that we can make sure that the quality that we are getting out to you is basically up to a good enough standard that you really deserve. And additionally, something that we wanted to do just to kind of help all these guidelines go through and just keep everyone up to date with what's going on is we're going to be putting up a season calendar. We may be updating it on a monthly basis. We may be putting the whole thing all at once, but you can start to expect in the future us having something out there that you'll get a little idea of what episodes to expect. We're probably going to have the name of the episode on there so that you guys kind of have something to look forward to every time that we upload, or so that you have a heads up when we're about to go into a season break. But with that out of the way, we're going to just jump straight into the episode today. Welcome back to our little podcast, where we talk about the occult, the supernatural, and cursed beasts that stalk amongst the eastern pines. To be frustrated is natural, and it's also natural to curse. We all have our breaking point where we may exclaim something to someone with no ill will, but still out of anger and without thought. But it's not very often. While screaming an expletive and claiming that someone is the devil, do we see it becomes true before our very eyes?
So let's get into the story of the Jersey Devil and some of its background history. So, on a stormy night in the New Jersey Pine Barrens of 1735, a woman known today as Mother Lee gave birth to her 13th child. Although her child was born normal, the baby soon changed into a creature with hooves, a goat's head, bat wings, and a forked tail. The child beat everybody with its tail before flying up the chimney into the woods, where it would become known as the Leeds Devil, then rebranded as the Jersey Devil in the early 1900s. It's reported that while in labor, Mother Leeds cursed her child. She was like thrashing, being muy dramatica, and like telenovela status, and just being like, this child's going to be the devil. And so that has some weight on it. Also, you know, the whole number 13. I'm just gonna be telling you, my grandma almost had 13 kids, you know, and I'm pretty sure if my grandpa didn't die young, he would have had that. You know, they were on 11, so maybe that's my cousin.
I just want to say, like, I don't care if it's from the grandma's point of view or the grandpa's point of view. After number like 1, I'd be done. I'd call it. I'd throw in the fucking towel.
Oh my god! When I went to my grandmother's ranch, or her family ranch in Mexico, like I met my great uncle, and he had 17 kids from the same woman. I was bad enough my grandma had 11, but I was like 17. Hell no.
Do you think after number 10, do you think it gets easier?
I don't know. Catholics, man, they didn't believe in contraception back then. They're old school. I don't know. But anyways, I digress. Speaking of family and crazy families, let's get into the Leeds a little bit. So supposedly Mother Leeds' real name is Deborah Leeds. There was a will left by Jamfet Leeds. Guys, I don't know what kind of name that is, but cool. Jamfet Leeds. That's probably not how it's pronounced, but my dyslexic ass is pronouncing it as such. So Jamfet Leeds, her legal husband, in which He named all 12 children in the will that he wrote back in 1736, and they lived in the Leeds Point, Atlantic County area in New Jersey at the time. So it kind of coincides with the lore. But then there's also Daniel Leeds and his son Titan and their family crest. Let's get into that. So another proponent to the story is that the Jersey Devil is based on the slander of Daniel Leeds and his family. Apparently, Daniel Leeds was a publisher and he had substantial beef with Benjamin Franklin, for all y'all who don't know. I'm just sitting here and I'm like thinking back in the day, right? Because they obviously might have still had like English accents back then. And I'm just thinking, I fart in your general direction. Your mother's a hamster and your father smells as elderberries.
I don't know. Out of all people, I do imagine that Ben Franklin could probably, like, I can imagine him being, like, a sassy motherfucker.
So, Daniel Leeds was known to have heavy astrology with his almanacs that he published. And the stuff that he had was the stuff of any basic influencers, wet cloud dream. You know, I could see some Pinterest bitches up in this, but his almanacs became public enemy number one to the Quakers in the region, and they burned his books and censored him. In a response, he then doubled down with the Christian occultism and astrology in his publications, and then he became competition for Franklin, and their beef would later be inherited by Leeds' son Titan, which one hell of a name, right? Titan and Benny Sino squared off more than once. He had more conflict with him than his father Daniel. Eventually, Benjamin Franklin had this little snippet in his almanac predicting the death of Titan, and Titan, clapped back at him. And there was some stuff there, but Benny C basically started saying that Titan was a ghost. Can I say that was some serious trolling back then? He was like, yo, why is this ghost hitting me up? Like, isn't this supposed to be dead? Like,
I was right about to say something like that. Like, some right fucking, I'm just like, damn, it's kind of fucked up, but in a good way.
On a side note, Benjamin Franklin, he's a douche if you look at some of his stuff. Like, he is the Elon Musk of his day or something, because there's a lot of stuff that he did that was like, okay. Well, I think he's better than Elon Musk because a lot of the stuff that he did work. I believe if Benjamin Franklin made a rocket, it would not explode. Yes. But, like, he was also kind of a dick. I mean, all the colonizers were, especially when it came to Native Americans. So I have reasons why I don't like Benjamin Franklin. Basically, it boils down to colonialism, slavery, and genocide against white people. But there's like stuff about sex cults in Benjamin Franklin. He liked older women better than younger women because he wrote that, like, it's all the same to him with an older woman, and older women are less bullshit to deal with. So he's one crazy character. So I'm assuming that his adversaries would be crazy characters as well. And yeah, like, the Leeds kind of proved that, especially with their heavy occultism in an area that was predominantly Quaker, by all research says at the time.
How legendary do your disses have to be that they've created like 300 plus year old folklore?
Right? Back to the Leeds. In 1728, Titan Leeds began to include a family crest on his masthead of the almanac. The crest was depicted with wyvern and a bat-winged dragon-like legendary creature that stands upright with two-clawed feet. So he's really playing this Leeds Devil thing real hard. And all that together, Benjamin Franklin trolling him, calling him a ghost, their whole thing with occultism and being seen as blasphemous with the surrounding religious population, that is what people think is the origins of the Leeds, because it's like, oh, that devil Leeds, and so the Leeds Devil became a thing, and then later the Jersey Devil. So it's all big telephone game.
In my opinion, It really does seem like one of those sort of case closed sort of situations where you look at the history and you think to yourself, it's not some cryptid wandering around New Jersey. It's just a legend, a myth of a fucking diss that just lived on through the ages. That would very much be the case if it wasn't for the fact that there were so many testaments of people actually seeing, at the very least, something that matches the description of the Jersey Devil. The 1900s were stirring with a buzz, with activity starting in 1909, when reportedly nearly 1,000 individuals witnessed the Jersey Devil take flight during a cannibal testing at Hanover Mills Works in Pine Barrens. It was then that Navy Commander Stephen Decatur spotted the creature and took fire, striking it, but with no effect. Shortly after, strange tracks were found in the area that bloodhounds refused to follow. The creature was again reportedly seen in 1927 in Salem City, as a taxi driver reported to the police that while changing a tire, a winged creature landed atop his vehicle and began pounding on the roof. In 1960, many residents of Mays Landing reported seeing strange tracks and hearing odd noises at night. The local police assured that it was all a hoax, but that didn't stop wanted posters from showing up, offering a reward for up to $100,000 for the capture of the Jersey Devil. In 1972, a woman by the name of Mary Reitzer reportedly encountered the creature on the road between Blackwood and Glassboro. She described it to Weird New Jersey magazine. One winter night, I was driving to Glassboro from Blackwood on Green Tree Road. At the time, the road was flanked by orchards and farms. There were few houses and there was hardly any development. I was completely sober and awake when I caught a glimpse of something in my rearview mirror. Curious as to what it could have been, I slowed down to take a gander. It was dark out, but moonlit enough that I had no trouble at all discerning the upright figure of a creature crossing the road from one side to the other, roughly 25 feet behind my car. The figure stood taller than any man by far, and had thick haunches supporting its nearly human-looking torso and a huge woolly head. It moved heavily and didn't seem at all disturbed by me being there. Sightings and claims of the Jersey Devil keep rolling into the turn of the century. Some of them left on the whim of curiosity, while others speculate the continuing of a potential hoax. It's honestly been one of those things that, since the initial conception of the folk story, they just keep rolling in. Some of them kind of believable, others really not. Either people are out there looking for fame sometimes, or they really just want to continue the myth. It's kind of hard to tell.
But there is also a large population of large predatory birds in the area, as like the same as we found with other cryptids. With other cryptids that we found, that we've, I'm sorry, to our listeners, I cannot say cryptids without making it sound like cryptics. So in the area, there's a lot of large birds, predatory birds that could be mistaken for a monster, especially if you're alone hunting in the woods at night, which a lot of these people did. And that could be it. It could just be a hallucinatory reaction to seeing an animal.
I know that Gordon Stein in the Encyclopedia of Hoaxes did note that a 1909 incident in which they found some tracks described that they eerily resembled horses' hooves, and insinuates that it's very possible that it could have been a horse's hooves, and according to Stein, had later been confirmed by a man that it was indeed faked. There's also been accounts where supposedly somebody during that same year had actually had a friend who was an animal tamer who evidently purchased a kangaroo from the circus and glued artificial claws and bat wings onto it. They tried to later then declare to the public that they captured the beast, but it was ultimately a hoax.
Kind of like the mermaid.
Exactly.
I feel like there's a lot of taxidermy type hoaxes.
I always kind of love it because as a huge fan of things like Gravity Falls, I always love the concept of the overly cheesy tourist trap where it is just a stuffed rabbit with antlers glued on its head, or googly eyes put onto a model of a man's decapitated head or something like that. It's got an odd charm to it, but there's also something really damaging to trying to trick the masses.
I love how people would fall for shit like that, but when it came to the duck-billed platypus, everybody was like, nah. You got me fucked up.
But stories like that keep on rolling into modern times, to be quite frank.
There was sightings in 1909 that were in the newspaper. You can still find like some newspaper images of that from a popular newspaper that's still in circulation right now. So the 1961, that was somebody who reported hearing odd noises. And then the 1972 one was in that weird New Jersey magazine and book publication, I believe. That is on my wish list. I'm going to get the Weird New Jersey book because that seems to be chock full of lore. Shout out to New Jersey for having a lot of folklore. Because like San Jose, all we got is the albinos and like 2 haunted houses, one of which you really can't go in. So there's actually a documentary that was released on YouTube last year, 2020. It is about these 2 people, Michael Robinson and his son, Stefan Kurtler. They have had eyewitness accounts with the Jersey Devil. They apparently have spent 2+ years researching the Jersey Devil and have a stockpile of evidence. I haven't completely finished watching the documentary, but if you guys want to go check that out, it's on YouTube. Jersey Devil documentary 2020. It's by the YouTuber Trucker Upper, which is one hell of a name. I imagine that he has a truck.
I gotta say though, damn, that fucking drone shot is sexy.
You know, go check them out on YouTube. Cryptics. Check it out, eh? Go check it out.
But this is the point in the podcast where we just want to take a moment to let you guys know that we have a Patreon. We have a few donors every month who really make a difference in our life. It really helps us be able to have more resources in order to have better quality insurance and make sure that we can really give you guys what you deserve in terms of something you want to listen to. If you wish to find us on Patreon, you can look us up on Hidden Knowledge Cast or use one of the links provided below on your podcast listening service. But everything that's been said so far, Vanessa, do you honestly think that this is a case of big giant part kangaroo, part goat looking motherfucker flying around, stomping on people's cars and eating pigs and stuff? Or do you think that it's just a legend?
You mean a chimera, basically? Do I think it's a chimera?
Well, do you think it's real is what I'm asking.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it sounds like it could be telephone or mass hysteria, because the Jersey Devil itself, if you look into the lore, it's more of a nuisance as opposed to anything else, because it's never been reported to harm or kill anybody. It's just been like, oh, scary, you know, like kind of like the kukui.
I mean, to be fair, from the drawings provided, it looks like a goat with wings. And that kind of is how goats are. So I imagine a goat with wings would just be an asshole who just kind of cute, kind of asshole. He's like, I stepped on you. I'm going to take off now. I ain't bye.
Right. Apparently, the creature was blamed a lot too for like bad crops and stuff in the area, which, you know, I take with a grain of salt. I kind of am just like, okay, you're just finding something. I think that sometimes we need something just to place blame on. For me, it's kind of hard. I guess the Fox Mulder in me wants to believe, but the Dana Scully is like, now.
I think that was the most elegantly said thing I've ever heard. But yeah, with that, I think we're about out of time and about wrapped up. So I'm honestly more inclined to think exactly how you just worded it, honestly. But with that, we'll leave people wondering and they can make up their own mind on it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. If you happen to see it and you have a better quality video footage of it or like pictures of it than like the really badly, shittily, poorly done photoshops that we've seen, let us know.
We have an email.
We do have an email. We should post that for you guys. We should make a fan email for them. Or you could just hit us up on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is @HiddenKnowledgeCast.
There we go.
On Instagram.
Exactly.
So check us out. You can leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you have anything that you want us to post. And let us know what you're interested in. If you got something of juicy, bit of mystery or supernaturalism to tell us, we would love to go down that road with you.
With that, I think we're going to wrap up today. So take care out there and watch the skies, I guess. I don't know. Bye.
Bye.
And with that, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to a couple of our Patreon supporters. Thank you to Ben Turco, and thank you, Ruta Pillar. You guys are great, and we appreciate you.